Hi, and welcome to Live with the Vibe, where we have the heart-to-heart conversations. I'm Julianne Cantarella.
I'm Susan Greif.
I'm Amie Blumberg.
And I'm Jacqui Atcheson. And we are here today to discuss lamenting, kvetching, and just plain old complaining during the pandemic. So, yeah, I know. Why are we talking about it? Well, for me and all of us, but let's see how this goes. During the pandemic, I know everybody out there is experiencing a lack of normalcy. Our health, our economy, our mental health. I mean, the list goes on and on. Would we not all agree, right?
Yes.
But so grief is in the air. It's all around us. It's kind of sad, but that's what's going on. And there are 5 stages of grief. I'm not going through them. We've all read about it. Everybody online is discussing that. So we also have no idea what this is going to end up like. So the uncertainty, the grief, everything is going on. But along with that, we're all trying to find gratitude and solutions. And again, everybody's to that. So I and my vibers here want to go the other route and do some good old-fashioned complaining, whining, kvetching, lamenting, fretting, call it what you want. But that is the other side of gratitude in life. It's like making lemonade out of lemons. You have to experience the dark to see the light.
There it is.
There it is. Oh, there you go. So we have, the reason we do it is because we try to have a say over the things we can't control. And that is a bonding experience for people too. And that's why we do it. So I'm going to ask.
I do it for fun. We do it for fun.
You do it for fun. I love that. Cheers. Here's to the fun of kvetching, Amie. Thank you.
Fun.
Thank you. So it is fun. Thank you. So Amie, let me ask you, what do you like to lament, fret, complain, whine, or kvetch about? And what do you call it? What does that mean for you?
Well, for me, it's just complain. I mean, that's what it is. I don't think you need a special word for that. I think you just complain. But I think we all would complain about commuting. We would complain about the things that we couldn't control because we just couldn't stand doing them. So I think a lot of times we complain about the things we can't do. And then we blame the things that we do on something else. So it's the thing that we complained about. That's why we didn't do it, right? So it's sort of this vicious circle in terms of how things happen. Right. But I think for me, I would have complained about commuting, how to wait for the bus, how to wait for the train. Oh my God, it was so crowded, I couldn't get on the train. And so, you know, that would become something we would complain about. So the good news is I don't have to complain about that right now. So that's the good news.
But what would you say you complain about during this pandemic? What is that for you?
Not being able to get out of the house enough and also go take my bar method classes. For me, those are the things I complained about. So I use that as an excuse probably not to work out as much as I would normally work out, right? I mean, that's what happens.
A complaint with no solution.
Yep, exactly.
That's another topic. How could we complain and find the solution, right?
Well, the solution is to not go to the gym, but to make your house the gym and to make sure you go outside, right? But there was a period when you couldn't go outside. So for all of us, I think we would complain. And you end up with fatigue and burnout and frustration and all those things. So it can become a vicious cycle.
Well, just a quick question. Since you are the business coach, are you finding dealing with people in business, whether it's corporate or your smaller clients, what is that for them?
I think for them, it's having excuses on why they can't do things and why they don't want to do things. Oh, and I think what ends up happening is then it just becomes a pattern, a way of being, because when you complain about something, it sort of takes over. It's really easy to let those things take over, and it's how you fight through it and how you adopt a way of making change. And sometimes that's really hard when you catch yourself in that space of complaining. It becomes something you start to believe in, and it becomes your way of life. Susan's telling me that it is. That's the.
You interpret it that way. Why?
Like, it is.
Why did you interpret it that way?
Is that Carol Burnett or is that Carol Burnett?
Carol. So Susan.
Yes.
Go ahead. Tell us what it's.
So, you know, it's so interesting because, we talked about the kvetching and complaining and the ranting and the venting and the lamenting and all these words, and they all have like a different vibe to me. Let's say the word vibe here because we are live with the vibe. Complaining to me is about things that we feel we can't do and we don't take ownership. It's like, this is bad for me. I hate this isn't working, but it's something that we allowed ourselves. And I find like more about ranting and venting is more about getting things off your chest,
Yes.
getting frustrated. And I think there's like a difference. There's this fabulous British politician, prime minister, his name was Benjamin Disraeli. He coined the phrase, never complain, never explain. And I think it's because both of these kind of put create ownership of and being responsible for your emotions and your thoughts. And unless we're ready to own responsibility for our actions, that we really shouldn't complain. I think it's such a negative, to me that's negative. I feel ranting or venting is positive because it gets you to express yourself. And complaining has a negative connotation. That's the way I see it. That's the way I feel. Don't complain, just do something about it.
It's funny because Jacqui asked me about in business, and we talked about this the other day, Susan, that when people complain sometimes, it's a way of them sort of hiding and not addressing it, and I won't use the word confronting, but don't necessarily address what the issue is with that person or with themselves. But a lot of times in business, it's complaining about people that you're having working relationship and partnerships or collaborating with, and your frustration becomes that rant. And you go home and you rant to your significant other, or you call your friends, or you do a text rant to friends, as opposed to really addressing that person that you're really struggling with in business.
Right. And I think that's the importance here is getting, complaining is passive aggressive. It's not being forward and straightforward with the person that you're having an issue with. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something people need to learn to address. I don't know if you don't mind. I was listening to this guy, Suggs. I love him. He put this out. Can I show you this quick, less than 1 minute video?
Yes,
He's amazing. I'm going to share this with all of you, if that's okay. Here he is. 1 second. Share this with you.
My grandmother used to say, don't be the DJ at your own pity party. There's a difference between venting and complaining. Venting is actually like a natural reflex. There's no way in the world you could go through life challenges and keep it bottled up inside. So when you vent, you get it off your chest and you move on. But when you complain, you dwell. When you dwell, you get stuck. When you get stuck, you lose hope. And then you're no longer able to focus on being resourceful to navigate through this maze we call life. So stop being the DJ at your own pity party and get over it and put on some better positive music. Love to hear your comments on this topic, and remember, be relentless in all that you do and you will always increase your odds to win. Suggs, out.
I just love him. I love his personality, and guys, don't be a DJ at your own.
Grandma is fierce. I love his grandma. She's like fierce,
I love his passion.
Yeah.
And let me ask you, going through this pandemic, how do you get things off your chest? What is it that you need to get off your chest? How does that work for you or your client?
All right. So, me or my client. So I've given a lot of thoughts to this since our conversation yesterday. I actually watched Susan's video, and Jacqui, you talked about another video that you had watched. And both videos are on opposite ends of the spectrum. And they really are. And my takeaway from Jacqui's video was really more of that, when we tune into outside forces, social media, other people, there's a guilt around complaining. And it kind of says, what is it about us that we need to complain, that we need, that we have to kvetch, rather than just taking responsibility for what's happening. And, talking about having things out of control. I mean, things are not terribly out of control in my house, to be very honest with you. As they say about introverts, I've been waiting for this for a long time, and I'm doing just fine, quite frankly. I've never been better. I've been able to really, sorry, but it's the truth.
So when this is over, should I ask you what you're kvetching about then?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with my favorite people in my household. I'm very blessed. I don't have to worry about, too many things. But my clients, they complain, they are really, really stressed about not being able to connect with people, which I really understand, and it's very painful for them. But, I think there is something to be said about being able to vent. I'm totally about venting. Get it off your chest and really kind of, move on from there. It's okay to have negative emotion. And
Yes.
if you don't understand and embrace those negative emotions, it can be a catalyst for toxic emotion. And I think if we bottle it up and hold it inside, then, it can over time wear down on us. So I think complaining is great. Venting is even better, because then you can get and move on, because you don't want to get stuck in that, unless it's something that's, obviously very serious and, everything's relative. So that's kind of how my take on it. And I do feel badly though for my clients. And I just know that, try to reinforce this will not be forever. And we're, kind of looking, could we slowly be inching out of this?
Good.
There's always boxing, right? You can always do boxing. I mean, I turn to fitness when I feel frustrated or I want to kvetch or complain, right? You turn to fitness, you get outside, you sort of find time by yourself. But, there's something to say about getting those boxing gloves out and doing that and taking a class. Or I saw online somebody took cans and they were just doing cans like they were boxing gloves. I don't know if they threw them or not, but they were using the cans.
You cut out the picture of the person you're angry at? Do you cut out the picture of the person you're angry at and put their picture?
I haven't done that, but that's a good idea.
No, I've never.
I remember when I used to teach my kids to bowl, how to hit the head pin. Think about somebody you want to put the face on the head pin. I'm glad you're just making me think about that. But it's funny because for me, for people who know me, I've gone the other way. I've become quiet. I don't want to talk to anybody. I've actually gone the exact opposite way. I've gone very inward. I've gone very inward, interestingly enough. But I'm going to ask, excuse me?
You feel you're taking more time for yourself. If there's anything that has been difficult for you, are you healing? Jacqui, I'm asking that of you specifically.
I am. Me?
What'd you say, Susan?
Yeah.
I didn't say anything, but I find that journaling is always a great way to get things out, especially if you're a private person, and especially if you don't feel you want to, say negative things about people that really bother you. And maybe it also helps you put things in perspective. Like, why is this bothering you? Not even like, why is this making me angry? Why am I complaining about this issue? And you start answering your own questions. Journaling is an amazing way of getting out your energy and getting out those thoughts. And if you want, you can just toss it away or figure out how you can approach this in a different way.
Mm-hmm. But I think I want to go back to the original thing, not to find positive ways to complain or kvetch. I want us to be human.
Right.
That it's okay.
It is okay.
To do it. It's okay. And it doesn't always have to be after you do it in a negative way or the way you didn't want to do it. Then you can say, all right, the solution is let's journal, let's exercise. But the human piece of what we're going through now is what I am really looking to let everyone out there know that it's okay, because we are going through something extraordinary. And we don't always have to stand there like stoic with, you know, our shoulders down, being like, we're perfect. We're not perfect. And it's okay to be imperfect.
I also think the messages we're receiving is that we always have to look on the bright side. We always have to find the gratitude. We always, and what does that say about us if we're not?
You know what that reminds me of? Everyone in our generation and every generation that followed always thought we had dysfunctional homes. And I'm not saying we didn't, but the point is there is no functional home. And the reason we thought we came from terribly dysfunctional homes is Donna Reed, my 3 sons. I mean, so we don't want to do that now under these specific conditions. So I'm going to start this one off with, what is it that I'm feeling that I can't control now that makes me want to go, okay? I hate wearing masks. There's not one mask out there that I am comfortable with. I can't breathe. I don't like it, okay? I hate that I have to have Lysol wipes, disinfectant, sanitizers all over the place. I'm eating more than I should be eating, even though I'm exercising. That's my solution, but I'm eating more. I'm drinking a little bit more every night because I'm doing happy hours with people. Why not? I'm supposed to feel happy, you know? So that's what I'm saying. For me right now, these are the things that I'm complaining about, kvetching, fretting, whining, lamenting, call it what you want. But that's what's happening for me right now. So what about you guys?
So I'm on the other end of the spectrum from you, again.
Your half, my half.
Yeah. So I will say, I am very anxiety ridden and anxious, and about people not wanting, and I know you are wearing the mask, but I'm anxious about people who are saying, I'm not going to, I'm not going to follow the, you know, the distancing rules. That's a lot of anxiety for me. And I kvetch about that to my poor husband, and he's like,
you did to me.
Did I to you? I can't remember. Yes, I probably did.
Talking about it, yes.
Yeah. And I just go, you know, I was in a situation the other day, and it was like, I just could not believe someone, you know, put me in essence in a dangerous situation. Now, they don't know my history, they don't know my background, they don't know about my kids, but it's like, I'll wear a mask for you if you wear a mask for me.
I had that conversation with somebody on the river on Sunday, because my grandson, they were coming up from us, no masks. My grandson said, Nana, why aren't they wearing a mask? And I said, you know what, you're right, they should be wearing a mask, honey. And the woman turned around and cursed me out, gave me the finger, used the F word, and told me I was taking away her freedom. Yeah, so that's part of the mask thing. I don't like wearing it, but I do. And I said to her, that's because I'm protecting you.
Right.
You're not protecting me. So yes, that's all part of the mask thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, you know, going back to that a little bit is, you know, we have 2 dogs, so we have to go out and walk them, and we're living in a temporary location. So got to put on the gloves, I got to put on the mask, I got to take the keys. You know, by the time I'm ready to walk out the door, I've got like 10 things in my pocket. And it's very cumbersome, and it's not the same level of freedom. I think that's the piece that I feel like that struggle with, is the freedom that you had, you know, about going outside, about doing things, about being able to find that space, but doing it without having to think about it. And it was first nature just to grab the leash and walk out the door. But now, like you said, you come back, you have to wipe down the knobs, the leashes, this, you know, all the things that you touch. Mm-hmm. And so it can be overwhelming. But, you know, it's interesting. I was watching, I think it was CBS Sunday, and they did a really interesting story about being grateful. And so there's that, it's the opposite of the kvetch, and about the things that you can be doing and how you can be enriching your life during this time. Because to your point, Jacqui, we're complaining about all the things that we can't be doing. And so it's really taking away that independence. And he talked about it from the other perspective. So it's really, you know, for me, it's the lack of freedom that I get frustrated with, and the lack of just doing. And yes, I miss the human interaction. It's like the Zoom fatigue. I'd rather be with people working with them one-on-one and collaborating and doing things as opposed to doing Zoom all the time, because it's just exhausting. And then it's, you know, finagling, and by the time people get on. So yes, it's really easy to complain about all the things. But I think the way that I look at it after I vent is that they're just minor setbacks and shifts and changes, and you just gotta sort of go with it until we're back to a place where it becomes easier again.
Amie, I have to tell you, you just did a great job venting. Thank you. That's what I
Thank you.
wanted to hear.
It felt good.
Oh.
So that,
Susan, your turn. Give us a little vent. Come on, Susan.
And you know what? I've been an empty nester for a long time, and everybody's back home again, and it's great. But we have additional kids. I have two
No,
sons.
it's not great. Take that away. You're venting. Then you got to vent right. No qualifiers.
You know, Jacqui, I in my business, we have to find balance. So I find balance between like being overwhelmed and having zero time for me. And, you know, feeling like every day is Thanksgiving and meals being constantly prepared. But the balance is like, thank God my kids all get along and we all get along. And as hectic as it is, it's exhausting. And my house, I'm constantly like picking up after everybody, like as they were little kids. You know, in the evening we hang out, we'll watch a movie, and that brings me joy. So there's that balance, you know, like you said, there's pain, there's pleasure. And it's like sometimes like, you know,
Out the dark.
I had time with my husband, like we don't get that much anymore. So,
Right.
but I'm very blessed, and yet it's just like I'm a type of person that decompress, and like I like my quiet time. So I go into meditation mode to get there, and I escape on a walk to get there. But I'm an introvert anyway.
Julianne is very quiet on this one. Like, she's very quiet.
No, I complained. I said I get very upset that people don't want to win.
She gets anxious, Amie.
I do. I vented.
You didn't win the award for the best venting,
I
though.
did not.
I think I might have for tonight.
You did.
Amie won. Bravo, Amie.
I'm sure I could come up with a few more, though, if you need me to take up Julianne's spot.
Okay, so guys, we all want to thank you. We want to let you know that it's okay. Call it whatever you want, but feel the pain. Find someone to get it out with. It is normal. It is human. Again, if you don't see the dark, there is no light. There's no balance, like Susan said. So with that, thank you for watching us again today. This is Jacqui Atcheson.
I'm Amie Blumberg.
I'm Susan Greif.
And I'm Julianne Cantarella.
And we're live.
Bye, guys.
Bye.